When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes, is the answer. Now, here is the host of The Long Bearded Guy, the Chief Catalyst, Strategist Guide at Jewel International, Gordon D. Melville.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to The Long Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. I'm very happy you're here today. Welcome to Red Fridays, R-E-D Red. I have my red. I've got, that's World War I is our third jersey for our Kitchener Rangers, and they are in number one in the OHL at the moment, so we're very excited about that. But R-E-D Red is remember everyone deployed. So they're willing to stand on the wall for us. They're willing to stand in the fray and step in the gap. And you know what? We need to be able to honor and respect that. Mad respect for that. And thank you so much for the sacrifice, both for you and your families. Thank you so much. And especially as we're coming up to Remembrance Day on the 11th, I want to make sure, hey, you know what? I honor that all year, but I want to make a special piece of that this morning. So remember everyone deployed. So we're going to talk today about first day with the new tongue. I apologize. By the way, if you're on Facebook or you're finding us on some of these different places, please jump in, join us, jump into the chat room. You can go on to Inspired Choices Network is a free download. Anywhere you would get your stuff, there's a free download, and then jump into the chat room. If you get into the chat room, my producers will give you a link to get into my live studio audience. Please come. Would love to see you here. So we're going to talk about radical accountability, radical results. And this comes from little bits and pieces from this week, and then some other things that have been coming and rumbling for the last little while in terms of radical. What does radical mean? And why do we want it in terms of, hey, Brian, thank you for being here. Love you, brother. Big hugs. Join Brian in the chat room, everybody. Come. He doesn't want to be lonely there by himself. And by the way, as I get into this here at the beginning, please grab yourself a journal, something to write with, something to write on, because you're going to want to write some of this stuff down. We want to remember, but most people can only remember about 10% of what they hear, even if they take good notes. So we want you to be able to remember some of this stuff. And you got about 10, 15 seconds to get that. And then we'll hop in. But radical accountability will produce radical results. People want really good results, but they don't want to have the result. They don't want to do the accountability portion of that. They don't want to do the work, but they want the result. It doesn't work that way. That's not the way life works. It's not the way success works. Nothing works that way. And so we need a radical accountability. We're going to talk more about that. But if you don't know who I am, if you do know who I am, I'm the same lovable, long, happy beard that I've always been. And if you don't know me, then you know what? I'm on a mission to positively change the lives of every man I meet. And I want to do that in a bunch of different ways. I want to make their life better. I want their quality of life to get better, their relationships, their work, their business, their home life. I want it to be better. And so I'm do that in a multitude of different ways. I'm the CEO and the founder of Jewel International. I'm a legacy and resiliency strategist. There's some pieces of that. And if you listen to me, you know what I'm talking about when I mean legacy and resiliency. And again, resiliency is something we need to get. A radical accountability needs resilience. Radical results needs resilience. I'm a multi-award-winning international best-selling author multiple times. I'm the elite performance catalyst for a finalist from last season, local pro basketball team. I work with the pro basketball team on their mindset, on their process, on their mental process. The only things we can control in our whole world are what we think and what we do. That's all. Control is an illusion. You've heard me say it multiple times. Control is an illusion outside of yourself. If you have a pet or you have children, you realize very quickly control is an illusion. It's not real outside of yourself. You can influence, but you can't actually control anything beyond what you think, your emotion, where all that stuff about you inside your head. And then that's going to result in what you do. And those are the only things I can really, truly control. The challenge is most people do not spend any time mastering control of themselves. It's not Pinky in the Brain. It's not world domination, right? But it's mastery of me. That if you're like me, that's a full-time job, right? And you ask my producer, they'll tell you, full-time job trying to even wrangle me, but master control of my mind is really, really tough. And so it takes time, and it takes practice, and it takes effort, and it takes intention. And if we don't have those things, or we don't put those things out, we're not going to get there. I teach the 7 levels of emotional intelligence for men. It's not an outside the box thinking. It's eradicate the box. There's no box. Just burn the box. Just learn some ways to deal with the emotion that we all feel every day, all the bits and pieces that we feel, but we don't know what to do with. And as guys, a lot of us were taught, don't show that emotion. Don't look weak. Don't cry. And so we don't know what to do with it. And so we do one or two things. We push it down inside of ourselves, or we put it in a box and we put it on a shelf because we're taught not to deal with that. Either way, we have massive pain from that. We have residual pain from that. So we're trying to dull the pain. How do we do that? Well, drugs, alcohol, gambling, porn, pick your poison. We're doing that to get the pain to go away, to dull the pain. But now I've got a vice on top of the problem, which is not helpful. And if I leave it there too long, I'm going to have an addiction on top of the problem. And that's going to cause even more problems for myself. So I teach guys and people in general ways to acknowledge it's there. We have emotion for a reason. I've been doing lots of research and study on Stoicism. But even Stoicism doesn't say, hey, have no emotion. It's not about having no emotion. It's about acknowledging it's there and then dealing with it in a positive way and letting it go, having a frozen moment and let it go. So I work with pro athletes, and I work with primarily high-level entrepreneurial men, but I'll work with anybody. So we don't have the market cornered on low emotional intelligence, low EQ, but predominantly guys tend to struggle with this because it's not something we were taught. So plug into this. We're going to dig a little bit into this today. Radical accountability produces radical result. We have to have radical accountability to have a radical result. To get a great result, we have to hold ourselves to a much higher standard. It's not an expectation, because expectation is about ego. Expectation is about me, not about somebody else. They didn't agree to it. And then I do something neurotic, like going, whoa, you didn't live up to what I didn't tell you my expectation for you was. And so now I'm upset with you because you didn't live up to what I thought you should have. And I didn't tell you what that was. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. It's just a neurotic thing that we do. So not having that is a good idea. I'm excited to have you find me. And if you're with me today, and thank you again, Brian, for being here. But you know what? You can find me on more than 450 platforms. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, obviously on Inspired Choices Network's platform, as well as inspiredchoicesnetwork.tv, and then anywhere else. But those are the 4 streamings right this minute. But you can find me on Apple TV and Google TV and Roku and Amazon Fire and all iHeartRadio, Spotify. You can find me wherever you listen to your stuff. Please plug in. Please plug in. I can't afford mentorship or coaching, or I can't afford these. Then at least plug into the free stuff. This is free stuff. At least plug into that. Because if you don't do that, then it's not a matter of, hey, you know what, Gord, it's too expensive, or hey, I don't have time, or whatever. No offense. What I just heard was I don't want to. It's too hard. I don't want to spend the time and energy to do that. Then you know what? Don't bitch and whine and complain because your life isn't what you want it to be. If you're not going to plug in, then suck it up, because you're going to be where you are. And whether you think you're mediocre, not mediocre, you think you're pushing, you're not pushing, whatever it is, wherever you think you are, we are where we are at the levels we are for a reason. And it's us. It has nothing to do with anybody else. And you've heard me say that before. But when we talk about radical accountability, part of that is self-accountability. It's about me, right? So I want you to like, love, share, subscribe. It's a free subscription. The download for Inspired Choices Network is a free download. Please download it. Obviously, the like, love, and subscribe, that helps. Share, that helps with our algorithms, helps pay for the show, but it also puts the message out. And you've heard me say, I want engagement. We have lots of reach. I want engagement. What does that mean? It's not just a matter of like, love, share, subscribe. That's great. And I want you to do that. I want it to go further than that. I want you to reach out, email me, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. It doesn't get any easier than that. Thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Reach out, Gord. I love what you're doing. Gord, you're full of shit. Gord, I have questions about this or about that or about the other thing or a comment about something you said. I want that engagement where you reach out to me. Don't want this to be a monologue. I want it to be a dialogue. I want this to impact, and I want you to be able to reach out and talk to me. Please reach out and talk to me. I can't help. Resources are only as good as when you plug into them, right? So again, radical accountability, radical results. A definition of radical, and we've heard that a lot this week. If you happen to be in the US, you've heard the word radical a whole bunch, describing lots of different people on all sides of the aisle. So as an adjective, radical, relating to or affecting the fundamental nature of something, far-reaching or thorough. So as in a radical overhaul, something like that, where it's all encompassing, right? Advocating or based on thorough or complete political or social change, representing or supporting an extreme or progressive section of a political party, usually, and I want you to remember this, okay? Remember this. If you write anything in your journal, write this. Characterized by independence of or departure from tradition, it's innovative or unorthodox. I'll say it again. Characterized by independence of or departure from tradition, innovative or unorthodox. Can be radical. What does that mean? It's not orthodox. It's not in line with everything else. It's not the status quo. If you're happy with the status quo, again, you're happy being where you are, knock yourself out, props to you, then you're probably not listening to me either, right? Because if you want to go farther, you want to grow intention, you have to do it with intention. If you want to grow with intention, you have to do something different than what you've been doing. So a lot of times that's flying right in the face of tradition. It's being innovative or unorthodox in the way you approach. That's radical. Oh my goodness, that's radical. It's a late Middle English forming the root and inherent, the two pieces put together. Radical these days seems to mean holding on to our principles, ethics, work ethic, right? People that work really hard, well, it's radical. Because people are like, oh, no, I don't. That's different generation, right? A lot of times. But new generations look at it as, oh, that's radical. You're working what? You know, my son comes home and goes, oh, I had to work 12 hours. And I looked at him and went, well, you know what? I remember my first part-time job. And he's like, what? It's 12 hours. That's a lot of, that's a part-time job. At my generation, that was a part-time job. A lot of us were working way more than 12. A lot of us worked 18, 20. That's considered radical now, right? It's radical to embrace civil liberty or equal rights or treating folks as humans and trying to get along. Agreeing to disagree and still be friends is now radical. How come? Absolutely, they did. Massive eye rolls, right? Why? Because they look and absolutely my sons, they absolutely give me eye roll because they're like, oh, Dad, you're so old. And I'm not saying I'm not old. What I'm saying is that's radical now. People think of it as radical to hold ethics. Oh, that's so fuddy-duddy. Okay. It's radical. And you know what? I embrace that. I want to be radical. I want to be unorthodox. Right? You look at those things. I want to be unorthodox. I want to be innovative. I want to be non-traditional. I want to be that because that's what stands out. That's what makes a difference in the world. The people that stick out are the people that are exactly that. Whether you agree with them or disagree with them, they're exactly that. I need to take a quick break already. Kind of snuck up on me. I need to do two quick shout outs. One is for Jose Escobar, is the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Check out his Connected Leaders Academy membership to take your business to the next level. This is the perfect tribe to learn, grow, and connect like never before. The Connected Leaders Academy tribe brings together some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. Set up your free virtual coffee with him today. And you can reach him at theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. That's a great membership group. The other one is for Austin J. Haynes. Expand. And as we go to a break here, we're going to talk about pause and breathe really quick. but expand your pause and breathe experience by connecting with mindful poet and mentor, Austin James Haynes, to spark your midlife reinvention in an unexpected way. Austin's journey from a college dropout to a Fortune 500 company to a poet will inspire you. Go to austinjhaynes.com for his latest podcast, Recorded in Nature. And I know he's got at least two new ones that are absolutely incredible. So go reach out to Austin James Haynes at austinjhaynes.com to go deeper. So like you say, as we go to a break here, don't forget to pause and breathe. Why? You're slowing yourself down. You're pausing for a second. You're letting the information you're hearing settle, and you're preparing yourself for the next segment. You're preparing yourself for the next piece of what we're going to talk about. And again, we're talking about radical accountability, providing radical results, and why we want to do that. What does that mean? We want to go deep into that today because it's about accountability. It's about personal responsibility. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. So don't go anywhere. Don't forget to pause and breathe. Got my special mug. Thank you to that person. Appreciate her. But pause and breathe as we go to this break. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. I'll be right back.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Apologies there, I was choking. I try not to choke. Try not to choke. All right, we're talking about radical accountability and radical results. Radical accountability, radical results. You can't have one without the other. You'll get results. Don't get me wrong. You'll have results for sure. Absolutely you will. Will you get the level you want? Maybe yeah, maybe no. Probably not. Without having radical accountability. What is radical and why is it radical? Holding ourselves accountable. That's radical for most people. Holding myself accountable. Personal accountability, which requires awareness. It requires a level of emotional intelligence that's higher. Why? Because if I can't hold myself accountable, I'm not going to allow anybody else to do that. How many of us, and throw in the chat if this is you, I will hold myself to a level of accountability that most people would never, ever, ever impose on me. that personal accountability. I'm still not well, right? That's been that way for a long time. But I'm the type of human that holds myself to a different level that most people wouldn't hold me to. If I reach out to my producer and say, hey, and I would do that last night or first thing this morning, hey, I'm not in a space where I can do my show live today. I hate missing live show. I love spending time with you all. I love to share. So I hate not being here. But if I reach out to her and say, hey, I'm not capable of that today, she's going to say to me, no problem, feel better, we'll look after it. But I'm the only one that's going to know. Could I have crawled down the hall, bring my barf bucket if I needed it, sit in it, can I figure it out? I'm the only person that's going to know that. I'm the only that's personal accountability. It's not a matter of don't show up if you, it's a matter of, can I hold that self-awareness, that personal that high standard for me. No one else is going to know, because everybody else, we can give each other grace that we would never give ourselves. Yes. Right. But being able to do that, holding ourselves to a certain level of accountability, will produce result at a much radical result, much higher level. It'll give us stuff that wasn't there before. I hope that resonates. What I'm saying is, if we step into it, we've all done things where we go, we get up in the morning, I don't want to, I don't feel like it. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to eat healthy. And we force ourselves out of bed and we have a protein smoothie and we get to the gym. How do you feel when you come back? Do you still feel like crap and you're like, oh, I hate that? Not usually. Why? First of all, you went and did something that you didn't think you could do, or you didn't think, well, I don't want to do it, I don't feel like doing it. You did it anyway. That's a win. That boosts there's endorphins. Because you exercise, there's endorphins. You feel better. And the rest of your day seems to roll from there. Right? But if I let myself off the hook, I don't hold myself accountable, no one else is gonna. There's nobody else. One of the first things when I started to work for myself as an entrepreneur, and they said, what are the best things about entrepreneurship? And I was like, you know what? There's nobody kicking my butt, getting me out of bed, setting my schedule. I do it all myself. It's awesome. And they went, great. What are there any downsides? Yep. There's nobody kicking my butt and getting me out of bed. That's not awesome. Sometimes I need that push. Right. So, and I think we're all like that. Sometimes there's some special people that are wildly driven and they don't need anybody to push them. And some days I don't need a push. Some days none of us need a push, but some days we need that little bit of a nudge that goes, hey, come on. That level of accountability. With my pro athletes, they would look at me and go, Gord, I want to spend the dough. I need to spend the dough. Why? Their discipline was already way up here. But they needed that little bit of extra push, that little bit of extra accountability where someone's counting on them. You ever had a gym partner? You wake up and you go, I don't want to get out of bed. Oh, crap. Jamie's going to be there. I better go. That's accountability. That's somebody else is holding us accountable. But we need to be able to do that for ourselves. That should come from inside ourselves. Holding ourselves accountable. The more we can do that, the less we need it from outside of ourselves, right? I heard a thing, I was talking about something and I said that, and I went, you know what, I need to write that down. The more we respect ourselves, the less we need other people's approval. Oh, ouch. Ouch. The more we respect ourselves, that's radical accountability, right? That's radical accountability. Well, people I'm not always what I should be. None of us are. Hello. I want to knock on the camera. Hey, we're all in that same boat. We're all in that same boat, right? We're not all perfect. We're humans. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Imperfectly perfect. We're built exactly the way we're supposed to be. And we're loved exactly the way we are. Exactly where we are right this minute. No matter what that means. No matter where you are, no matter what's going on, you're perfect and more than enough just the way you are. If you don't believe that, reach out to me, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com, and I will help you figure that out. How do sports figures and business people and political people and even politicians, I'm thinking Mandela, way, way high personal accountability, radical accountability. What kind of results did he get? What kind of result did Kobe get? That's radical accountability. Most, even NBA players, sports pro players, do not want to do that. They don't even want to live at that level of accountability. But that's what makes them superstars. Michael Jordan, Gretzky, Crosby, Ovechkin, name somebody. It doesn't matter whether it's sports or baseball or business or hockey or none of that matter. Anybody that we could all name holds themselves to a really, and everybody knows, right? We say a name and everybody knows who that is. Whether you watch that sport or not, whether you pay attention to that country's politics or not, whether you watch that in business or not, you follow business, doesn't matter. There's certain names we all know. There's certain names we all know. Why? Because they have radical accountability. Way, way, way up here. And what happens? They get radical results. They get otherworldly results. Why? Because they pushed so hard and hold that accountability, personal accountability at such a high level. They have self-awareness at a high level. Their EQ is at a high level. Why? Because they understand themselves. They've got self-mastery. Right? We talk about control right off the top. Control is an illusion outside of me, outside of ourself. But I need mastery of me. And once I have that, I can harness my brain, harness my emotion. We think of ego as a negative thing, but I can harness that negative. If I understand it properly and have mastered it, I can use that negative to produce positive results. I can't do that if I don't understand it well enough. I can't do it if I don't understand it well enough. So we want to be able to harness that. We want to be able to understand. We're going to talk in the next segment. I got to take another quick break, but we're going to talk in the next segment about some activities of highly accountable people. You're going to look at me and go, Gord, this all sounds wonderful, but what does that mean practically? Right? I'm a big, not a why person, but I'm a big show. I want the details. Don't just tell me to be self-accountable, to raise my accountability level for myself. Don't tell me that without giving me the tools to do it. So I'm going to give you a few tools, some activities that you can do that can increase, or things to be aware of, self-aware. Again, you're going to want to write this stuff down because you're not going to remember. As we go for a quick break here, again, I need to do two quick shout outs. One is Jose Escobar. Check out his Entrepreneur's Bookshelf to learn more about the morning and evening routine mastery program that is changing people's lives. This program will help you install systems on the bookends of your day to maximize your morning and evening routine. Set up your free strategy session with Jose Escobar today, and you can reach him at the entrepreneurs with an S, entrepreneursbookshelf.com. And the second one is for Austin J. Haynes. And again, we talk before every break, pause and breathe, pause and breathe, pause and breathe. I learned that from Austin J. Haynes. That has been an incredible mentor for me. And I learned that from him. And we've now 2.5 years into, 2.5 seasons in, and every break we've talked about pause and breathe, pause and breathe. So expand your pause and breathe. If this resonates with you, expand your concepts around pause and breathe by connecting with mindful poet and mentor Austin James Haynes to spark your midlife reinvention in an unexpected way. Go to austinjhaynes.com for his latest podcast, Recorded in Nature. And again, he's got two I know that he's recorded since last week that are absolutely phenomenal. it really gives you another level. If you want to be able to expand yourself, part of self-care is being able to plug into yourself and plug into nature. So he talks a lot about it from nature, and there's breathing exercise, and there's things to be able to see and feel as we're going to break. And the reason I've talked about it is because pause and breathe, the breath work is important, but the pause allows us to settle, allows us to understand a little more and think about what we've just heard, and prepares us for the next segment. And sort of, it's like having sorbet between courses, right? It cleanses the palate and lets us understand and percolate for a few minutes on what we just heard. So pause and breathe as we go for a break here. Don't forget to do that. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. I'll be right back.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
The Connected Leaders Academy is the #1 fastest growing networking community for entrepreneurs. CLA assembles high-level leaders, titans of industry, and business owners under one roof. If you're an entrepreneur looking to grow personally, professionally, scale your influence, develop skills, and expand your network exponentially, the CLA is where you need to be. Want on to more podcasts and shows, speak on more stages, sell more books, products, and services, get more leads, referrals, acquire new clients, develop lifelong friendships, and more. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Contact Jose Escobar on Facebook or check out www.claglobalsummit.com for more information.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. And today we're talking about radical accountability, providing us with radical results. We can't get radical results. We can't get really good results without really good accountability. Self-imposed, personal accountability, self-awareness, holding ourselves accountable. If we don't do it, no one else is going to do it. And if we force someone else to do it, lots of times it comes with a whole whack of other challenges. So that's not the deal, right? We want to be able to do it for ourselves. So in this segment, I promised you activities of highly, not just successful, activities of highly accountable people. What are things you can do that can make you highly accountable? Again, you want to write these things down because you're not going to remember. Okay. All due respect, you're not going to remember. And I'm going to go through them fairly quick because we don't have lots of time. But if you want deeper into this, reach out to me, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Connect to me, ask the questions. I do one-on-one mentorship. I do group. I can come and speak to your group. I can come and speak to your guys or to your men's group or to your church group or to your young peoples or to your association or your community. Reach out, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Number 1, don't blame circumstances on fate. It's nobody else. The circumstances are going to come. We can't control sometimes. Most of the time, we can't control circumstance. It's just going to happen. Life happens to good people. That was a joke years ago. Life happens to the good people and to bad people, but mostly to the good people because the bad people stole their umbrella. Right? But the concept right? It's about us. It's about us. It's our own accountability. Don't blame circumstances on them or your parents or an ex or your boss. It has nothing to do with them. It's not fate. It didn't just, there's no happenstance. It's all planned that way. It's choice. We chose to do it. Don't blame circumstances on fate is number one. Number two, set your correct strategic vision. Don't be distracted. Have your North Star. Have your lighthouse. Set what it is, and then don't get distracted by all the look, all the shiny baubles as you go along. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do. No. Stick it. Stick your point. Set your correct strategic vision where you want it to be, and then go get it. Don't wait for it to come, right? They say don't wait till your ship comes in. Swim out. Meet it in the harbor. So set your correct strategic vision. Number three is focus on most important and urgent goals. Focus on the ones that are most urgent. Don't confuse busy with productive. Don't confuse busy with productive. Oh, I was busy. I'm doing all the stuff. I had this admin stuff I had to get done. I'm not saying that's not important and you got to do it. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, if that's not generating what you need it to generate, then you need to hire someone to do it so that you can spend your time doing what you need to do. Focus on the most important and urgent goals. Don't leave them till the last minute. Do little bits of it at a time if you need to. Break it up so little bits at a time will get you where you want to go. Without urgency in terms of, I got to get it done by tomorrow. Oh, I left it till the last minute. It's always better when they do it ahead of time. 4, empathetic listening. That's EQ, folks. That's emotional intelligence. That's emotional quotient. It's not really an intelligence, but it's a quotient. Empathetic listening. Not listening to find a way. Oh, I can share a story about myself in this. That's not what you're listening for. Listen to be understood. Listen to understand. To understand them, not to be understood. That'll come. Empathetic listening is listening to understand them, to put yourself in their shoes, to understand where they're at better. And I separate empathy from sympathy. Everybody can be sympathetic. Everybody can have compassion. Empathy for me is the ability to have experienced what they've experienced. So as a suicide survivor myself, anybody that's in deep depression or suicidal, not just but actually tried, I get it. And I'm going to be able to talk to that person and have empathy. Why? Because I understand what that feels like. Now, do I have their specific situation? No. But can I empathize in the sense that I understand that general sensation? Yes. Right? To help divorce people. Can I do that? Probably, but I've never been divorced. We've been together 32 years. So somebody that's been divorced will be able to give them perspective that I can't give them. They can give them empathy that I can't. I can give them sympathy, and I can give them compassion, and I can share my stuff, but I'm not as well equipped because I've never experienced that. So empathetic listening. 5, believe in teamwork. Nobody ever was radically successful on their own. Nobody. There's nobody radically successful on their own. Oh, Tiger Woods. No, he had a team. Right? Oh, Mike Tyson. No, he had a team. There's nobody that was radical, that has ever been radically successful that didn't have a team. They say if you want to go quick, go by yourself. You want to go far, you need a team. Find your team, find your tribe, find that group, a small group of people, your core group. Stick with them. Believe in teamwork. 6, establish interdependent relationships. That goes right back, right? Find your core 5. Find your small group of people that you're close to, super close to. And most of the time, those people are going to be where you want to go. They're going to be people that respect you, love you, care about you, want your best interest. They're not going to judge you. They're going to love on you. You want that established interdependent relationship. That takes work. That doesn't just happen, folks. Like any other relationship, you got to put in the time. You got to put in the effort. You got to show you care and genuinely show you care. Don't just put it out there. Oh, I'm going to let them believe that. No, that's bullshit. Be genuine. Show up authentically. That's the only way that works. It doesn't work if we're not. So establish interdependent relationships. Number 7, boost your energy. How do you do that? What do you mean, Gord? Boost your energy. What do you mean? Healthy eating, exercise, sufficient rest to fuel your body and help it relax. Boost your energy, healthy eating, exercise, and sufficient rest. Those 3 things will make a world of difference. Lots of people will discount the benefits of sleep. Oh, and I want to caveat a little bit. I was Energizer Bunny for 30 years. Push, go, 20 hours a day, 23 hours a day, 10 days a week. I was the guy that people would got pissed off with because they would look at me and because the bosses always said to them, "Why can't you be more like Melville?" It was radical for sure. But I didn't do any self-care. I was teaching self-care. I wasn't doing any self-care. I wasn't boosting my energy. I was just expending it and expending it and expending it at the expense of me. Look after yourself. Self-care. I'm a walking, talking billboard for what happens when you don't do it. Boost your energy by healthy eating, exercise, and sufficient rest. Get that full rest. Boost your spirit. How do you do that? Read books. That's radical right now. Or I like to listen to it. What do you do when you hear something that, and I'm not poo-pooing audiobooks. You know what? If that's how it works, then you know what? Do it. It's better than not doing it. But don't listen. And I'm not saying don't listen to fantasy and what I'm saying, edification. Read something that's going to make you better, that's going to challenge your belief system, that's going to level you up a little bit or level you up a lot. Don't just listen to it. Don't just read it. Study it and then implement it. Execute what you just learned. Because if you don't, you might as well not have read it. Read books. Listen to music that's uplifting, that gets you going. And it puts a pep in my step and away I go. Boost your spirit that way. Spend time in nature. Go and find Austin J. Haynes. Find his stuff in nature. That will ground you. That will boost your spirit. I've said to my wife, and we talk about this with friends all the time. When we lived in the middle of nowhere, and right now we live on the edge of nowhere, but we live in a subdivision here. But when we lived in the middle of nowhere, there was nothing around us. You could see the top of the homes that were our neighbors, but we could walk out of the house completely naked. And I apologize for that mental image, but they could walk out complete, and you wouldn't be able to see them. It was that far away. You'd see the house, but you couldn't tell anything. That walking in nature, I would come home from work. We would come home from work, and you'd walk into drive into the property, and it was all farmland and trees and the pond, and and you'd step out and just stand there, and all the BS from your day, all that stress and anxiety just sucked away. Nature just purged it out of us. I miss it. We've talked about it recently. I miss that space because it was rejuvenating. It boosted my spirit because it cleansed. Just being in nature just being there. You don't have to do anything else. Just be there. Just sit in nature. Sit next to a lake, right? Go to a conservation area and sit next to a pond. Sit in a treed area where it's forest and just sit in the space. That will boost your spirit. And that'll boost your energy. Because when our spirit is lifted, we seem to be in a better space. We seem to find the energy for the things that we want to do. I hope those things resonate with you. And again, if you want me to share more or go deeper on this stuff, I have one-on-one, and I could open a spot. You know what? I wasn't going to do that. I'll open another spot to give another one-to-one spot in a beta program. If you want to learn more about this, reach out, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Email me. Again, you've used the best mind to get where you are. Are you where you want to be? If not, I suspect if you're still listening to me, you're not where you want to be, in which case, reach out, because you need to pour something different into yourself. You need to use a different direction. You need to have someone put some stuff into you, pour some stuff into you that changes your trajectory, that can help you get where you want to go. You got to do it with someone that knows what's going on and can get you there. That's done that before. Not a travel agent, not somebody that goes, hey, do this and this and this. A travel guide, somebody that will hold your hand and walk through the trench with you. Where business-wise, I have taken somebody from $50K a year to more than $500,000 in 6 months. I've changed and helped pro athletes harness what they're doing so that they have emotional intelligence and can harness their skill and be productive at a much, much higher level. My point is there's ways to do that, but you got to be able to harness and step into that. I need to take another quick break. And I want to do, again, a shout out for Austin J. Haynes. Again, because we're talking about pausing and breathe. I learned this whole concept from him. And it's powerful. Pausing and breathing, it's powerful. Try that in nature. Pause and breathe in nature. Unbelievable. Expand your concepts around pause and breathe by connecting with mindful poet and mentor Austin James Haynes to spark your midlife reinvention in an unexpected way. It'll shock you how much it impacts you in a positive way. Go to austinjhaynes.com for his latest podcast, Recorded in Nature. He records a lot of them in nature on purpose, intentionally, to have it impact you in a positive way. Go find Austin J. Haynes to expand your concepts around pause and breathe. And as we go to a break here, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll wrap up. We got a quick call to action that I think is important. It's something that we need to do. So don't go anywhere. You're with Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices. The Long Bearded Guy on Inspired Choices Network. I'll be right back. We'll see you in a minute.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the Long-Bearded Guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewel International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Long-Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. You're with the Long-Bearded Guy, Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. And today we're talking about radical accountability, giving us radical results. We talked about definitions of radical. We've heard a lot of that this week, right? In a political sense, radical left, radical right. Oh, this is radical, that's radical. What's radical? A lot of times, some of the old stuff that was normal when I was growing up is radical. If I send a personal note, handwritten, and put it in snail mail, oh, that's radical. Why? Because that's not the way things are done at the moment, right? We've got so conditioned, just send an email. We all can do that, right? You want to really blow somebody's socks off? You're trying to get the attention of a lady, or you're trying to get attention of a client or a potential client, or you're trying to make an impact in a really positive way that'll blow them up. Send them a snail mail, handwrite a snail mail card and put that in, they'll blow them right out of the water. They'll love that. Why is it radical? Well, holding ourselves accountable, personal accountability, and self-awareness are things that people don't do so much anymore. They're not self-aware. They don't hold themselves personally accountable. They want to point their finger and go, no, it's them, it's them, it's them, it's them. You know, it's a parent, it's an ex, it's a spouse, it's a boss, it's whatever. That's not how this works, right? That's not how this works. We need to take personal accountability. And I gave you some activities for highly accountable people. I hope you wrote them down, right? So as we wrap the call to action today, become accountable to get a radical result. If you want radical result, if you want results that are above what most people are doing, if you don't want to be mediocre, you want to be extraordinary. It takes that little bit of extraordinary. Extraordinary requires that little bit of extra. What is that? That extra is radical accountability of you, from you, for you. Once you do that, it'll spill out onto all the people around you. Your life will improve, but so will everybody around you. So become accountable and get a radical result. What can you do from those activities of highly accountable people? What activities can you do that can push you to that next level? That can give you the results you're looking for, that will make you stand out. You want to stand out in your niche? You want to stand out as a human being? Radical accountability. People respect that authenticity. They really do. So figure out one of those, re-listen to the episode if you have to, but figure out one of those activities, multiples of those activities of highly accountable people, and then execute it. See what happens. I challenge you. I do that with you all the time. I'm challenging you constantly. And you know what? I'm challenging me. I'm doing exactly the same thing. Ask people in my life. They'll tell you. I'm challenging me as much as I'm challenging you. Because this is an ongoing thing, right? It's not, oh, I've arrived. That'll never happen. Not ever. Never, ever, 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 ever. It's a journey and it's an adventure, and we're all growing. We're all looking, hey, I'm not here to be right. I've said that lots. I'm not here to be right. I'm here to share with you what my journey's been, what I've learned along the way. If that helps you, wonderful. But part of what I'm doing, as I'm learning, I'm sharing with you. Some of these concepts I've done for 35 years. Some of them are brand new, right? The point is I'm sharing it with you to exponentially accelerate your learning curve. If you're wise and smart, you'll pick some of that stuff up and implement it in your life. I want it to be helpful for you. Quickly, next week, Friday, November 15th, is going to be a really exciting episode for me, because I've got, it's an episode called Call to Greatness, but I've got Alex Auerbach coming. He is, was one of the high-level mindset gentlemen from the Toronto Raptors professional basketball team. And he's launching a book and another book. So you know what? We're going to have a good conversation next week around Call to Greatness. This will be a really special episode. I've only had one other guest on my show. This will be very, 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 it'll be a lot of fun, but it'll be deep. Two experts in their field talking together, sharing about what Call to Greatness means. And we're going to talk about that. You want to come for that. So this week, be courageous, be unapologetically you, unabashedly you. You don't need anybody's validation. Make it another great week. You've got the power to do that. Live out you abundantly and with intention. Don't just let it happen organically. I love you. Massive hugs. See you next week. And I leave you with who you be. Who are you being? How are you showing up in the world? It matters. You matter. You have infinite worth and value.
Thank you for tuning into the Long Bearded Guy Show. You are appreciated and loved. Gordon D. Melville returns Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, make it another great week, leading with love, powerfully designing, crafting, and living out your positively impactful legacy life you were created for. Big hugs!